I'm bringing out the train again. That only means one thing. We got another 2JC, guys. Another one to the lot. I went to the JDM place and got me another 2JC GE VVTi engine. This is a non-turbo version. This is the best bang for the buck you can get right now for a 2JC. It's they're like $1,500 versus $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 for a GTE. This engine is gonna get fully built. It's gonna be pretty much almost like the same setup as my 2JC on my car. So it's gonna go from this little bone stock 2JC that looks really ugly and dirty to a beautiful racing spec engine. And here we have another 2JC for the chopping block. I'm super happy that you guys are actually listening to my advice and are getting these builds done. The 2JC is still going up in price, so I got this for a certain price for a shipment. Next shipment is probably gonna be about $200 more, and the next one, so on and so on, until the 2JC GE is gonna become unaffordable again. So jump the gun now, get some 2JCs. You can get them built by me. You can also get the parts by me. I can set you up with a really awesome and reliable engine. There's nowhere else you can take your 2J but to Big Boost shop. Did I tell you guys that this engine is actually gonna get built and sent all the way to New York? I'm so happy that you guys are trusting my work to even have me build engines and send them like across the whole United States for you guys to enjoy. Now on a separate note, I finally got the 1JC parts back from powder coating. That means the turbo's back, intake manifold's back, and the valve covers are back. So check this out. Just check out how cool and clean the new 1JC valve covers are looking like. This color is actually corky pink from prismatic powder. So if you want to get your valve covers or turbocharger painted that color, this is the color code. So this color looks like dull orange, then you hit light different, it looks like kind of like pink and purplish. It has all kind of colors. The turbocharger is also the same color, so I got this thing looking like candy. The intake manifold got powder coated gloss black, so no more dirty intake manifold. This is a mid plate. Then the other part and plenum are over here, which are all powder coated, super clean and nice. Man, I can't wait to install this thing. Okay, wait is over. Check out how awesome this engine looks like. Cover matching valve cover to turbocharger, super clean on the intake side. And then we're gonna have a black Radium Engineering fuel rail over here with Deatschwerks injectors. I gotta modify a throttle body because the throttle body is super long, so I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna weld either a 45 or 90 degree cast aluminum elbow to it and eliminate the throttle control flap, so it's gonna be a lot shorter. That way I can have a lot cleaner intercooler piping going to this engine. Then I also gotta try to see if I can paint match the front cover and upper like ornament cover for this engine, which are sitting over here clean and degreased, ready for paint. I'm only a few days away from tuning the car, so we need to upgrade our fuel system, or should I say finalize the upgrades on the fuel system on the E36 with two more Deatschwerks fuel pumps. So I have a Deatschwerks 400 fuel pump that's gonna go in the surge tank to. That's gonna be two Deatschwerks DW400 fuel pumps pumping 800 liters per hour to the 2JC to keep up with the fuel demands on the 2JC, because they can get pretty thirsty, especially on E85. And then to keep those two pumps with plenty of fuel, I have a DW300 that's gonna go in tank. That's gonna be without pressure. This one's gonna go in the stock fuel tank, and all it has to do is just keep the fuel surge tank full. Then down here I have a 110mm fuel filter from Deatschwerks as well. I'm gonna open this up in a little bit so I can clean the element, make sure my filter is nice and clean before flowing more fuel through it. We're gonna go ahead and open our Deatschwerks 400 fuel pump and see the contents. We have two sizes of fuel hoses. I gotta see which is the size that we have here to match that. We have the strainer, and of course we have the power connector. Then our mighty fuel pump right here. We're gonna open the Deatschwerks 300 in a little bit because that one's gonna go in tank. Then here we have our Nook Performance Surge Tank internals. So you can see the bracket is meant for 2 pumps. I have one right now. Then we have connection for both pumps right here. So we have ground, power, and power. And then right here there's another inlet for fuel, and that one's capped off. I'm gonna take that cap off. I'm gonna put the correct fitting so I can install the second pump. I removed the plug. Now we have our fitting and the crush washer. Very important to put the crush washer. It's gonna go in like this. Then we're gonna tighten it with a 13mm wrench. We got our connections made. Now we just feed the pump through here and see if I can get it to line up. This is a little tricky since I made the other one like fit so good. I forgot to add extra room for the other pump. You can like somehow make this guy go all the way up. There we go. Now it's gonna play with this so they're both like straight. Our dual fuel pumps are ready to be installed back in the car. So I have the thick hose on this side, or well, both sides. Wiring, shared grounds here. Power fuel pump 1, power fuel pump 2. Very simple to install. I put both strainers kind of like overlapping because I can't make them too wide, otherwise they'll just be bent like that to the sides of the canister. I cleaned out the fuel filter with a little bit of brake cleaner, just like sprays up, takes it right off. Make sure everything else is clean here. There's no debris on the magnet. Clean your spring. And also don't forget to clean the inside of the filter housing. We're just gonna put this stuff back together. Goes kind of like this. You have your little spring. Goes on this. And then we squeeze. I might actually use a vise to clamp this down properly. With the filter on the vise, now we can actually turn this a lot more comfortable. Also make sure that your fittings are tight. I'm gonna flip this around. Make sure it's locked on the flat part here. And I'm also gonna make sure this fitting is tight. And we're good. Here's my stock gas tank assembly. It looks like I had an AEM pump. I don't know what model it is. But definitely wanna put a Deatschwerks 300 in there. This is like not very good right now. So there is a AEM 340 liter per hour pump. I'm going to replace it with a Deatschwerks 300. I don't know how old this pump is. I want to have a fresh, reliable fuel pump, so I'm going to install this. The install kit seems to be pretty similar. Good thing is that the plug is the same as the AEM, so I don't have to cut the plug. I can just put it right on this. The only thing I'm going to have to install to the pump is going to be the strainer, which is this extra large one compared to this little one from the other pump. Here's our finished piece with the fuel pump assembly. Now you'll notice that this is like in an angle, so you want to match the angle of the top of the tank to the bottom of the tank, so the pump is going to go pretty much like this. Now, very simple, you will cut this part right here. I use some dikes and it just cut right off. Then you will use this clamp to actually tighten the fuel pump to that base, and then everything else up here is just pretty much self-explanatory. It's very simple, but the most important part is to lock the fuel pump in place and to get the same angle as the fuel pump should be, so it sits flat against the ground. It's not just like one corner sticking out or like all over the place. Closing up the shop now. The car idles pretty good. Fuel pressure is great. It's actually at 60. It won't go any lower than that. I wonder why my fuel pressure is so high, but I mean, you can run it at that pressure. It shouldn't be a problem, I think. We'll see. But I want to go get some E85 and I want to go to this JDM meet. Hopefully there's room for me to park the car. If not, I'm just going to go home. I ended up going to the car meet, but it was kind of dead. So I ended up going somewhere instead. So the car's a little thirsty with the new fuel pumps. So Normally I will be putting this in there, but today we're gonna switch it up to this little guy. Now that I have the E36 running pretty good, I'm gonna get it dyno tuned next week. So fingers crossed for that one, it should work. Now let's go back to working on the 1JZ. Sorry guys, change of plans. We're actually tuning this week, and I'm gonna end this video now because the next content that I have for the 1J is really cool. It's making this video really long too, so I want to make sure you guys get to appreciate that content, so I'm gonna put it in a separate video. So stay tuned for that one, and also stay tuned for Thursday where I'm gonna be revealing the E36 dyno video.